Got him. We got him. Out of that tree right there. Come on, son. Oh, that's not a bad bass. That's not a bad one. Right there. Come here, dude. Hey, that's a little river bass right here at Lake Havasu. Oh my goodness, look at that on that Ica. Ah, nice looking bass right there to start the day. Folks, today we find ourselves at Lake Havasu. Beautiful area. We're in November, tough fishing conditions. We just had a big full moon blow through, some cold fronts, and I figured the best thing to do is get right up there against the bushes. They'll be tied up against the bushes, find some areas that's got some good trees in it, maybe flip some reeds. This lake is really noted for a lot of smallmouth. It's got big largemouth in it, and I'm kind of targeting the largemouth at this point by flipping into these trees with an Ica. And this is made by Yamamoto baits. It's an awesome bait, and you can see I have it Texas rigged only because I'm flipping it in some heavy stuff. So, you know, I want to throw it up in there, let it fall, get to the bottom, and just kind of be real subtle, because these fish, they've seen everything. There was a tournament here this last weekend, and the lake's been pretty beat up, but I'll tell you, I think you could slow down and catch some fish, and that's what we're gonna have to do, is slow down and catch some fish. I tried a little reaction this morning. It didn't quite work for us, and had a few little bites, but nothing really big to speak of. And I thought, you know what, after determining what I saw, we better slow down and maybe flip some trees or do something and make sure we can catch some fish for you today. So we're here at Havasu. We'll see what we can't do. We're back in the river though. I came back to the river, and usually the river is noted for, you know, you catch more numbers of fish, but you don't catch those big giants like they do out on the main lake. A lot of tournaments are won on the main lake, but there are giant fish back here. I've seen some tournaments won back here, so we know there's some big fish. The cool thing is we get to see some different country and just enjoy the weather today. Got him. Came out of that tree right there. I watched my line go sideways. Hey, I think we might have stumbled upon something. They're not big fish, but how do I say it? Fun fish. Come on up in here. Oh, yeah! Another little bass, but a fun one. I love it when you throw that Ica up in there, or a Cinco, weightless up in that stuff, and just let it kind of flutter down there. Boy, they like that. They're up in these trees. They're hanging in the woods so far. What I'm doing is just kind of pitching it out there and letting it just free fall down. And then when it hits bottom, I'll just kind of pick up on it real slow. Yeah, that's two fish out of this tree right here. Kind of missed that one. Let's get back up in there. You want to get as close to the bush as you can. That's why we're weedless. Get it in there where the trees are, the limbs are coming out. Up, up, up. Oh, I had one on right there too. Ah, I missed him. Yeah, there's a school of them hanging in there. There's a school of them in there. Let's see if we can't get him to come back out. Got him. I got that one. He came right out of that bush. Did you see him come out like top water as soon as it hit the water? He wanted it. He was trying to beat his friends to it. He's not giant, but man, it's fun. There we go. I'll tell you what, this is the main river channel right out here. We're just kind of tucked into a little pocket right here where the water kind of slows down, where it's not pushing your boat. They're not moving a whole lot of water today. It's not going the flow's not very fast. And that really does dictate a lot of how good the fishing's gonna be in this lake. You know, if they're pushing water, things like that, the fishing's gonna be better. The only good news that I can say about, even though the water's being kind of slow moving right now, is they've kept the lake up pretty good. The lake's pretty full. We were able to get in this little pocket, which is usually hard to get into. So that's one good thing about it. You know, one thing about throwing this kind of rig that's really important is the size line that you use and the size hook that you match that bait up with. I'm using a 5/0 wide gap hook. I'm gonna take this apart so you can see it. That's a 5/0 wide gap hook. That's an owner hook. I'm throwing it on 17-pound test fluorocarbon line because you're gonna throw it right in the trees, kind of pitching it in those trees. If you get a big one on, you wanna get it out of there. And I'm kind of in open water. If I wasn't in open water, you could throw it on braid, like if you're flipping inside the reeds or something like that. But because I am in kind of open, clear water, I kind of wanted to go with the 17-pound test line. I'm gonna have to retie this real quick. But I'm rigging the Ica backwards. So a lot of guys would hook it, say, this way and have the tail on the end. That works. But for me, I like to rig it backwards like this. And the reason for that is when it hits bottom and I just pop the bait. So when I pop this bait, these little tentacles right here flare out. And when they flare out, it grabs the bass's attention like a spider or a craw or something like that down there, and they just crush it. So that's the cool thing about this particular bait that I like. I'm gonna tie a new bait on. We're gonna retie this hook and get back to fishing. Up, up, up. Got him. Another one on that Ica. You know, these aren't big fish, but they're in here. Whole school of them. What the? I wouldn't call these tournament winning bass by no means, but I'll tell you what I will call them, fun bass. Look at that little dude. But it's good to see little guys like that because, you know, they're spawning good and keeping this lake healthy. So far, we've done pretty good just flowing down through here. All I'm doing, I guess when I set the hook, I caught my line pretty good. Got to get in those cuts. And I'll tell you something else that makes a big difference with doing this kind of fishing is when you find that shade, they'll use that shade as ambush. Not just the trees. I got one. Oh, that's a better one right there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're using that shade. Look at that one. That one's a little bit better, folks. Yeah, that's a good Ica fish. That's a good Ica fish right there. All right, come on. Come on, son. I need to find more areas like this. What's that, five bass off that little spot right there in just a matter of minutes? That's awesome. But what I was fixing to say before that bass rudely interrupted me was the fact that the shade really does offer a lot. So when you're fishing walls or you're going down the bank, these little shade pockets, I don't care if it's just a few inches, throw in there. Because a lot of times those bass, if they're gonna feed, they're gonna hide someplace and use it as an ambush area. It's like hiding in the dark and coming out and spooking somebody. They'll do the same thing on their prey. So definitely get up in there and let them have it. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, we're pitching this Ica into wood, things like that here on the river where you have current and you want this thing to get down there a little faster. So what I've done is I've put a little nail weight, as you can see right here, and all I'm doing is I'm putting it on the underbelly of the worm, and you stick it down in there just like so. It'll go right in there. Make sure it goes all the way in, inserted, okay, in the underbelly of the worm. And then you can go ahead and rig your worm back up, bring it back up just like so. And there, we're back in business. But that little added weight lets it sink down there a little faster because the current of the river is going to push your bait down. A lot of times weightless is fine, but when you're trying to hit specific spots like we are today with the wood, and you want it to fall right there where the wood is and not drift as soon as it hits the water, you're going to have to add a little bit of weight to this, and that'll help you catch those fish that are in the wood and not, 5 feet beyond the wood. So try that, it'll help you out a lot. And besides that, you get a better pitch with a little bit heavier bait. Got it. Got that one. He ain't very big, but I got him. They're right there on that little point, just right where the tree meets that point. We had worked down the bank a little bit. I came back. We came back to this spot. We let it rest a little bit. And the only reason why is because I went down that bank and I thought, man, let's go back up there and just see if letting it rest, they'll still be there. There's some little ones in there, but I noticed there's a little point that comes out here and then they go up underneath that tree. So that might be key to trying to find something similar to that. It's almost like they want the current, but they want to be out of the big main current where they don't have to exhaust so much energy to swim. And we caught all the big ones out of there. But this current that's coming through here slows down right here. So it gives them a chance to recoup a little bit, I guess. And plus it'll blow the feed down into this area. So that could have a lot to do with it too. Got him out of that juicy spot. He ain't very big, but he was definitely on that point in that juicy spot. I just got done saying, doesn't that fish look, or doesn't that spot look juicy? Right in those reeds. You know, we haven't caught a whole lot out of the reeds. I've been fishing them, but it just looked too good. It was a point. Just looked way too good. I had to throw up in there. You know, and that's the thing when you're back here fishing. If it looks good, throw at it, because man, I'll tell you, they do hang in there, but not a real big fish. Oh! Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? Got him that time. Yeah. That's how I was missing him. He wasn't that big. I had that fish blast up and blast up. Maybe there's another one in there. Maybe this wasn't the one. But man, maybe we found something. Back in the wood again. A little bit of shade back in that pocket back there. And we managed to catch him. You know, we're not catching. The bite's tough. I got guys telling me, asking me how to catch bass on the main lake. It's tough right now, but we're still able to get back in here and do a little flipping and catch a few fish here and there. They're not big fish, but at least we're getting bit. And one thing noted about the river is that, you know, a lot of it has to do, you know, if you can get back in some of the pockets, the river goes up and down. That's the problem is we live in Arizona. We got all these reservoirs that we have to deal with. And the lake levels are constantly up and down, up and down. Last week's gonna be a total different bite than this week, depending on the water levels, if they're running water, all that stuff. So, man, you can come out here and just have a crush day where you're catching big fish and then come out here and wonder what happened, like they shut the light switch off. And you still gotta find a way to catch them. A lot of times they'll get tight in the wood, tight in the reeds, stuff like that, and that's what I figure. We'll just come back to the river and at least feel like we can get bit here and there, and that's what we've done today. Got him. I got that one. That one was pulling a little bit. Oh, you just in the current. On that wall. On that wall. He's giving it to me in the current. Oh, that's not a bad smallie. Not a bad river smallie there. Look at there. Oh, he came off. Got him. Oh, that's not a bad fish. Oh, no, another little smallie. Now that one came out of the reeds, by golly. Deep reeds. Deep reeds. All right, come on, buddy. You know, I'm still fishing the reeds, but reeds today have not been the ticket for me. It's been rock or it's been wood. You know, the trees coming in the water, overhanging, this kind of stuff, like this stuff up front. I've been fishing a lot of this stuff and a lot of the reeds, and it just seems like pitching out there to the wood or just steep rock, you can get them. I mean, my boat's sitting in 20 foot of water right here. You can't find that everywhere in the river, but there's places you can find it. And I'm not afraid to fish the walls and just let it fall down. That, you find those little pockets where, you know, the water kind of curves out. Like right here, you can tell that it's moving out. But that bank up there in front of us is kind of stopping and it's going around, so it's kind of got us sitting here. We're not getting pushed that fast right now. So we're really not out in the main current. And that's the thing today too, is we haven't been able to really catch a whole lot in the main current. It's been off the main current, any place off the main current. Got him. Oh, that's a little bit better fish too. It's a smallie. Right on that wall. There we go. Well, look at there. We caught ourselves a little smallmouth bass here in the river. Decided to go up against those walls in the shade. That's where that weight comes in handy, right there. Yeah. You know, we've had a fun time today catching these little dudes. You know, you find shade anywhere in the area, man. A lot of times you can find the fish. It's the active ones anyway. I was just letting that fall down. And you know what's so funny is a boat just came through here, one of those jet boats with the big waves. But I really feel like it stirs the crawdads, all the activity up, kind of wakes the fish up a little bit. We all complain about the waves and this and that and the other thing, but it can really blow some stuff up and they put them into a little feeding frenzy for a second. So it's not always a bad deal to see those big boats come through here and stir up the water a little bit. Just hold on when they come through, that's for sure. That boat had just gone through and I threw out there and caught that fish. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been somewhat of a fun day today. I mean, we caught a lot of little fish, but we still had a lot of fun, and we figured out something up in the river here at Lake Havasu. I'll tell you, when it gets tough out there, a lot of times you can come into the river, everything's pretty shallow in here, and flip some fish or pitch some fish with some baits, Texas rigs, but that little Ica right there was our ticket today for us. And it worked really well. And it's a shame the day's over. I wanted to go fish some more of that stuff, but I'll tell you, that little bait right there can really get it done. A 5/0 wide gap hook and that Ica in the green pumpkins, what I was throwing today. The water's somewhat clear up here, and that's the crawdad type color that I like with 17-pound test line. You'll do really good. My taipan rod here, it was just a great fun day of doing some exploring too. I went and fished some areas that I normally don't go. I usually stay on the main lake here at Lake Havasu, but I had a lot of fun back in here. Man, get out here, enjoy the weather. November's beautiful. You're not sweating. It's just a gorgeous day out today. And outside of having to deal with wind here and there, you can come up and have a lot of fun. Remember, get behind those current breaks. Anything that when the reeds are breaking the current, flip in those little areas, those little pockets that might be breaking the current, you'll catch fish in there. That's where they like to sit, where they don't have to work so hard to stay put. But I'll tell you, you'll have a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us on the water today. I'm Johnny Johnson. We'll see you next week.
Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.